There's a power you're losing every single day. You give it away without even noticing. And while you do, you grow weaker, more distracted, more empty. But that power never left you. It's still inside, waiting for you to reclaim it. This video isn't motivation. It's a warning. If you watch until the end, you'll never look at your energy the same way again. Welcome to Arcano, where men stop running from themselves and learn to master who they are.
He walks as if nothing's wrong, but inside burns a fire he never learned to control wisely. Since youth, he's been taught shortcuts, quick pleasure, easy escape, instant gratification. They applauded him when he laughed on the surface, and ignored him when the light in his eyes began to fade. That light wasn't decoration. It was the signal of a primal force, his life energy, the pulse that drives creation and fuels willpower. He doesn't see it that way because no one ever told him straight. Sexual energy is not just desire begging for release. It's the raw material of genius, the fuel of discipline, the force that, when directed, forges inner empires. As he wastes that force in small bursts of temporary relief, his life fragments. What looks like freedom is actually escape. The screens, the fake comforts, the empty talk, all of it steals bits of his fire until one day he wakes up feeling foreign in his own body. It's not the result of one bad choice. It's the sum of thousands of small surrenders that rust the machinery of his spirit. If he could feel that rust between his fingers, he'd understand that recovery demands more than intermittent will. It demands daily strategy, non-negotiable discipline, and an intention as sharp as a sword in the dark. Because the man who doesn't manage his fire is easily ruled by smaller forces. He gets pushed by habits, reacts instead of acts, seeks comfort in immediacy, and loses the most precious thing he owns, the ability to transform desire into useful energy. That's what the world never taught him. Controlling his fire isn't about giving up life. It's about multiplying it. And that multiplication starts with a tiny decision repeated until it becomes character. The modern trap is elegant and precise. It offers pleasure wrapped in shine, bottled dopamine that hits fast and fades faster, leaving behind exhaustion. He thinks he needs more stimulation, when in truth he needs less noise and more depth. The system doesn't conspire with malice. It simply designs structures that reward instant satisfaction. In that design, a tired man produces, consumes, and sinks back into distraction without ever asking why his hunger for greatness is gone. That missing hunger isn't lack of ambition, it's misdirected energy. The power that could move mountains gets split into fragments of pleasure that build nothing lasting. Worse, those tiny decisions sculpt his self-perception. Every time he gives in to easy gratification, his mind learns a lesson. Comfort outranks mastery. And that's how he quietly disrespects his own potential. The most dangerous contempt is the one you feel toward yourself. Recovery starts when he recognizes the trap and stares it down without excuses. This isn't about morality, it's about mechanics. Transmutation, that strange word, means converting impulse into useful force. When he learns to see pleasure as a tool, not a destination, everything changes. Real pleasure is born from creation, discipline, purpose. That's the difference between wasting energy and channeling it. One consumes, the other invests. And investment over time pays compound interest in presence, respect, and power. The process begins with conscious containment, not denial. Containing doesn't mean suppressing forever. It means saving energy for the strike that matters. He must train attention like a muscle, moving it from the shallow to the meaningful. He picks something valuable to focus on, like a book or morning routine. A conversation with depth. He is transferring energy from sterile waste to a bank that yields honor and strength. That transfer is transmutation in practice. It is not mysticism, it is the economy of the spirit, placing your resources where they multiply instead of where they evaporate. Science backs it. Self-control reshapes the brain toward focus. But beyond the science, there's an ancient truth. The man who holds his fire learns to wield it with intention. Using it with intention means making cold choices in the heat of impulse. That's not showmanship, it's steel. He trains to stay calm when everything around him screams. Each voluntary restraint becomes a silent victory that, compounded, rebuilds identity. Discipline isn't punishment, it's respect for what you can become. Once he understands that every act of control is a vote for his future, deprivation turns into pride. A new pleasure appears, the pleasure of mastery. That pleasure doesn't shout. It speaks through posture, through stillness, through the peace that follows victory over self. Discipline is more than repetition, it's internal architecture. He learns to build rituals that anchor his energy. Waking earlier than the world isn't to performance, it's ownership, reclaiming the hours others waste in distraction. Training the mind with deliberate silence is as vital as training the body. The cold mind is born from small abstinences and unbreakable commitments. And in that cultivation, something unexpected emerges. Security. Not muscles, not status. Security in knowing his impulses no longer rule him. That certainty transforms his tone, his posture, his decision-making. When a man begins to rule himself, his circle feels it. He doesn't need to announce it. His coherence speaks louder. With energy concentrated, his goals sharpen. What once took months of hesitation now takes minutes of clarity. Effectiveness breeds motivation. Motivation feeds discipline. Discipline creates more results, a spiral upward. But no one will pay his debt for him. No one will restore his power without his will. The man who chooses comfort will always feel something missing. The man who chooses mastery will understand day by day that reclaiming energy is reclaiming life. Inner control transforms relationships. When he stops begging for validation, his world rearranges. The glances that once dismissed him now respect him. The shallow talk fades out of his schedule. The attraction he generates no longer comes from looks, but from presence. Directed energy has a signature: magnetism. Not manipulation, authenticity condensed. He attracts people and opportunities aligned with his vibration because coherence acts like gravity. But beware, this power is not a ticket to vanity. Silent power demands daily humility. Every act of consistency is humble, and that humility shapes greatness. Meanwhile, the shadow will always lurk, dressed as comfort. It whispers, "Just tonight. You deserve it. It doesn't matter." The wise man hears it, but no longer obeys. He answers with actions, not excuses. That's the mark of real strength, choosing long-term over instant. In that choice lives freedom. The freedom not to be dragged by impulse, the freedom to build with purpose. The philosophy of dominion isn't a notebook of rules, it's a way of seeing the world. He begins to understand that every sensation can be a lie or enemy. Desire itself isn't evil, it's neutral power. What corrupts it is directionless use. Transmutation is therefore an act of creativity, turning raw force into art, chaos into order. The same energy that once wasted his nights can now make him tireless at work, passionate in his craft, unstoppable in his growth. That demands audacity, to see life as an architect, not a spectator. Architects see materials and possibilities. Spectators see storms. He must become the builder of his destiny, and that requires choices most men avoid because they involve sacrifice. But sacrifice is not loss, it's investment. Every act of restraint is a brick in the fortress of his future. Once that fortress stands, the world's noise can't shake him. And that resilience turns him into a reference, a silent beacon others follow without knowing why. The price of greatness has one name: consistency. No man who built something meaningful did it with impulse or hacks. He did it with identical days, with boredom turned into ritual, with nights where the mind screamed and the will answered. He will face setbacks, that's natural. But mastery is the art of returning to center without excuses. Each fall will test him. Each recovery will renew his loyalty to himself. In time, he'll learn to celebrate small victories quietly, knowing that true glory is cumulative. Patience becomes his sharpest weapon. While others chase shortcuts, he builds the foundation and smiles calmly. And in that calm grows the power everyone seeks. Unstoppable, solid, unpretentious. Recognition will come, but not from showmanship, it will come from truth. That truth attracts genuine respect, deeper bonds, and doors that don't close. Now listen. There are no excuses left. You can keep wasting your fire on escapes that leave no legacy, or reclaim what is yours by right, your energy, your direction, your destiny. This is not a gentle invitation, it's a declaration of war. War against distraction, against comfort, against the voice that says it's fine. Rise and fight daily for the legacy you'll leave. Do it with the discipline of a craftsman and the ferocity of a warrior, not to conquer others, but to win your own loyalty. If you accept this challenge, commit fully. No halves. Build rituals, contain and redirect. Turn appetite into creation, desire into drive, fire into compass. And when you master your inner world, the outer one will bend. If you're ready for the only war that matters, the war within, then join Arcano. Subscribe, follow, and take command of your life with the same fury you'd use to defend your honor. This is the call. Step out of the noise, concentrate your power, and prove what you're capable of. The war starts now. Will you stay where you are, or reclaim what's already yours?